And he changed the batteries. All right, everyone, make sure your horns are on. That's phone. You're at your microphone. I'm going to start. Oh my, this is the first time. I'd like to welcome everyone. Okay, I'm going to introduce Brian Keene, the director, technology director is here. Yeah. All right. Adjustments to the agenda. Could I get oh, nobody's online. We can vote. Oh, that's exciting. Motion to add the following for adjustments, stipend resignations, and stipend hiring. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second?
A second.
Comments? Well, questions? Seeing none, all those in favor? Thank you. I keep turning it off. Consideration of the minutes of the October 24th, 2023 board meeting. Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
And a second? Comments, questions, revisions? I see none. All those in favor? On non-voting? Okay, one. All righty. Public comment. This is the time the public can make a comment. Is there anybody online that would like to make a comment? No hands raised? Okie doke. Communications.
I have no new communications.
Okay, new business. You do have, it was in our folder, which the personnel committee, and if Natalie wants to speak a little bit on them. I have a motion to approve updated athletic job descriptions. Could I get a motion? And a second?
I'll second.
And I'll let you do a little spiel.
Yep. I talked about it a little bit at the last meeting. Essentially, our athletic director, Nick, has gone through and standardized our athletic stipend job positions for both high school and middle school. Really no changes to the substance of the job descriptions. It was more just formatting to get consistency. So no significant changes to review, just when you look from one to the other, you can see that it's pretty much standard across the board. And I believe these have been presented to the association and no concerns there. So just wanted to get full board approval, and we'll have these saved so that we have a consistent set of job descriptions across our athletic stipends for the high school and middle school.
Any questions? Go ahead, Tim.
Just curious, I don't even have a clue what the alpha weigh-in position is.
It is the most glamorous stipend position. I'm going to let Pam describe it.
So it is very glamorous. The alpha weigh-in is the person who weighs all of our wrestlers and takes their urine samples.
They do urine too? I didn't know that.
They have to have,
Their weight.
they
Yep.
have to make sure they're not dehydrated. So yes, they
Okay.
also take urine samples.
Larry? Oh, wait a minute. I helped with the weight.
Just reading through these very quickly, they all read the same, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That's all I need to know.
Yeah,
As I said, very consistent across our job descriptions.
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
Okay, all those in favor? Thank you. It's approved. And Pam, you can do the next.
Well, it's old business. And I think Brian's going to give us a Region 9 update.
Oh, I missed that. I went skip that. Sorry, Brian. I went into old, thought it was new.
That's all right. So the Region 9 board met on November 1st. Outside of the normal housekeeping items, the things that were talked about, we had an update from our student services coordinator to give the numbers of our October 1 enrollments. We had 52 kids on October 1st from Derigo High School, 118 from Mountain Valley, 30 from Telstar, 1 from Buckfield, and we had some on-site visits, excuse me, from the Marine Corps and the National Guard. Another good thing for our kids, the Skills USA is returning. It's a program where there's a small group of kids that works with a couple of advisors, usually end up in Bangor for a competition. So that's coming back this year. It's been hasn't been happening since COVID hit. They did do a Halloween walk, which was publicized pretty good throughout the towns. It was on the same night as the elementary school's Halloween dance. There were over 850 people that came and went through the school. So they had a lot of good PR for the programs. And then the pre-K kids also did a trick-or-treat to each program. We had an update from adult education from Dr. Murphy. So we have that. The only other thing that was talked about that night was we have a new position for SAD 44 in Bethel. Roberta Taylor stepped down from the board after many years. That seat is now going to be filled by Dave Jones.
Any questions? Thank you, Brian. All right, now you can do the strategic old business.
I will give an update on the strategic planning committee. We are meeting Monday at 5:30 in the library here at Derigo High School, and we'll be twofold. One, we're going to be looking at samples of strategic plans from other districts so we can have an idea of what we want them to look like. And the second part of our evening will be finalizing the questions that we're going to do for a survey that will be sent. The survey will be on the website, but every mailbox in Canton, Carthage, Dixfield, and Peru will be receiving a postcard asking for their input about how the district is running and what they would like to see. It will take them, there'll be a QR code so they can scan it and go right to the website, or they can go to the website directly, find the survey to take. We will also have that survey available on, I think it's December 16th. It's a Saturday, 9 to 11. We'll be here at Derigo High School. We'll have a community forum where people can come in. We'll have them provide us information at that time, and they can fill out the survey still at that point. So we do want to get as much information from our 4 towns as possible as we work on updating our strategic plan for RSU 56.
What was the date?
It's Monday,
No, December one.
December 16th. I'm going to just pull up my calendar really quick. I'm good with dates.
The Saturday. It is.
It is a Saturday. Yep. December 16th.
Okay.
9 to 11, right here in this room.
Any other questions about that? All right, you might as well keep going.
Okay, so under the superintendent's report, I wanted to report out that RSU 56 received notice from the Maine Department of Education of an additional $5,857.86 that can be used for preventing homelessness. We will utilize that money to support any homeless or potentially homeless youth across our district. Gina Clucci submitted a grant for $10,000 to go towards a new dishwasher at Derigo Elementary School. We just found out that it was approved and will be funded. Yes, that was great. We have a student transitioning back from a special purpose private school, which is really exciting because sometimes those are far and few between. So that's super exciting that we have one currently transitioning back, and we possibly have a second one transitioning back starting next week. Per policy, the board should prepare to do a self-evaluation as to how the board is running. You should start to consider how you would like that to unfold, what you need from me, how you would like that to look.
Before you move on, should I try to get the one, there's, Steve had a sample that boards use.
I can ask him for it. as
yeah.
well, too. Yep.
That way we can not have to reinvent the wheel
Sure.
if there's
I'll
some.
bring a sample to the
Yep.
next board meeting and you can decide if that's what you'd like to
Okay,
use, but you
thank
should
you.
do a self-evaluation on how the board's.
Well,
running.
it's in our policy.
It is in policy. Additionally, the annual evaluation of the superintendent occurs in December. You'll be receiving an email from Kathy Arsenal, which will have a scoring rubric and places for you to score, as well as to provide any comments you have on each area. So you should be seeing that. I'd like to think that we could have it done for the first meeting in December, but because there's only one meeting in December, isn't there? So we will have that done. You should be receiving it soon. I will work with Kathy in the next day or two to help make sure that gets out. And that is my superintendent's report.
All right, before you move on, with the evaluation, it is very education, well, it goes off the job description, which is almost all in the one policy. But if there's something you don't understand, I think we have a don't NA or something, but there is place for comments, so you can write your comments too, because which I'll bring in under policy about, they have some new things going on, so but yes, please, because you may say, well, I don't know that, but at least if you put comments, that helps to get an idea of what the board thinks. All right, sorry for interrupting.
No problem. So I think I'm gonna finish my superintendent's report out and then go back to the high school principal. So I just want to report out some stipend and coaching positions. Derigo High School girls varsity basketball coach will be Reggie Weston. The boys varsity basketball coach will be Cody St. Germain. Derigo High School wrestling head coach will be Dana Whittemore. Assistant will be Bryce Whittemore. The middle school girls varsity basketball coach will be Kathy Crutchfield. The JV girls basketball coach at middle school will be Amy Chassen. The assistant wrestling coach at the middle school will be Dana Whittemore. The boys varsity basketball coach will be Debbie Keene. And the middle school boys JV coach will be Cole Brown. And we did have one resignation. The Derigo High School girls JV basketball coach, Nicole Weedis, did provide her resignation. And you can see that we already have been working on that. So then I will move to being your principal of Derigo High School. Is that up, Jared, or can it be up? Yeah. All right, so I'm going to start with enrollment. I'd just like to give you a 3-year enrollment look at Derigo High School. So you can see 3 years ago, we were at 196. Last year, we're at 231, and this year we're at 232. So holding pretty steady at Derigo High School with that 230-ish number. And then I wanted to give you a quick review on what co-curricular activities are happening at Derigo High School. So currently we have less than we had last year because we took away activity period to get another intervention period. So we don't have as many as we've had in the past, but we still have chess, civil rights, student council, JMG officers, Dungeons and Dragons, outing club, National Honor Society, and drama. And as you know, we added esports, and I'm not going to say much about that yet because Mr. Carvis is the next board meetings report out, so he will cover sports at that time. Then I wanted to give you a little bit of a look at summer school. So at Derigo High School, we had 38 classes that were represented at summer school. So everything from English, math, sciences, social studies. The only class that we don't offer during summer school is Spanish, for logical reasons that most of us can't just go in and help someone finish up their Spanish requirements. 25 students were invited to summer school, and I have that in quotes because your invitation is because you failed one or more classes, and that's why you get invited to summer school. And the students that came, and not all 25 came, but we did have 19 credits were recovered over summer school. So that was excellent that they came back and had those recovered and can continue on with their education. And then I'm going to give you an update at Region 9. I know you just heard Mr. Keen say that their October 1st was 52. We're currently at 49. We did have some students that opted to not continue at Region 9 after the October 1st time. So this is just a breakdown of how many are in which classes, because I think it's interesting to see. We have 9 students. That's our highest one in culinary arts. And then obviously you can see our lowest one is small engines, but that person in small engines is really excited and that's something that they're interested in. So it's nice that they have the other schools that send in there so they can actually make classes out of some that only one student in our school would like. So we do have 49 currently attending Region 9. Then I want to share with you on the next page, we have had 2 students of the month. Ella Hines was our September student of the month and Isaiah Campbell was October. Both very deserving young students here at the school. And when we slide up to the next one, you will see that they're both in the current National Honor Society induction that happened last night. We had 18 students inducted into National Honor Society last night. That was so exciting to me because National Honor Society, obviously you have to have good grades, but you also have to have strong character, leadership skills, just be an all-around good person. So these 18 students, there's Miss Buck on the left because she is the advisor, and on the other end you'll see Connor. He's a returning National Honor Society person who helped induct the new 18. So that is our crew that just got inducted. I'm super excited and very proud of them. And next, we have been doing something different at Derigo High School this year. We have Staff of the Week, and I've been posting them on our webpage and social media sites. They also have a special parking spot at the left-hand end of the building. And I should have said that with Student of the Week because the Student of the Week also gets to park up in that special area. So one student said to me the other day, I kind of hope I get winter because it'll be a really good close walk to the school. So it's really fun to have a way to just celebrate them. So they're in reverse order. So our current one is Mr. Hamalainen. He is the Educator of the Week this week. Last week was Jillian Bryant, who is the Academic Dean of Students. And the first week, which was the only week that was not a random drawing, we had Tom Kelly. And the reason we picked Tom for the first week was because he's the one that put up our signs for Staff of the Week and for Student of the Week. So we did pick him specifically, and then it's going to be random from there on out. But just a way for us to really honor the great people that we have working here. And it's fun because there's more than just like their work stuff in these of the Educator of the Week. They have their favorite songs and things they do outside of school. So it just gives us a glimpse to see them and know them a little better. And then I wanted to share a few fun things that have happened at Derigo High School. So in these pictures, starting on the left, we have Grace and Dom, who on Rhyme Without Reason Day for homecoming were Honey and Money, which I think is really cute. And then in the middle, we have John, who during Character Day was the pirate. And then on the right-hand side, I have to say Henry cracked me up when it was White Lie Day. So you had to say a white lie on a t-shirt and wear it to school. And I loved his Made in China. I thought that was like super creative and funny. So that's that. And then the next part down, we have our banners from our 4 classes. It's hard to get really good pictures on my iPhone at night, but they did a really great job. I know a lot of you came out for the parade. Homecoming week was really fun and they did a great job and represented Derigo High School well. And then I really wanted to put a picture up of Fletcher Cleaves. So Fletcher came here from, he was part of Choices Matters Assembly, which was offered by the Bureau of Highway Safety as a free assembly to any school in high school. So I was like, sure, we'll take it, not knowing what I was really getting into. And when he spoke to the students at our school, they were the quietest and most respectful and attentive 230 teenagers I've ever seen in my life. So Fletcher told them his life story, and it was really about distracted driving. So he was not a very large young man in high school, but he wanted to play football, worked really hard. He ended up getting a scholarship to college to play football. As a freshman, he was told that no freshman makes the travel team, because I didn't realize too much about college football, but only certain ones travel, the rest of them just practice. And then when they announced that there were no freshmen on the travel team except, and his name came up. He was so excited because he had made the travel team in college, and he was preparing for his first college game. He was going to be the person that runs the ball back when they kick off. Returner, thank you. And he was super excited about that. When he found out that he was going to start, he and his buddy decided to go to Buffalo Wild Wings. They went there, and on his way back to the campus, a distracted driver crossed the center line, hit him, and he woke up paralyzed and realizing that not only has his life changed, he was never going to play a college football game. And just about his sheer will. So it was about distracted driving, but it was also about resilience, because then he talked about, like, people were telling me all the things I couldn't do, and he wanted to go to some foreign country and dive off the rocks into the ocean, and they were like, you can't do that. And his friends carried him up, and he had a video of himself being thrown off the cliff and going into the water. Like, he was just so amazingly resilient that it was probably the best assembly that we've ever had. And it really, the kids still talk about, remember when Fletcher was here. And so it was just really great. So I wanted to share that. The next part is like not so fun, but done. The next page, we have completed PSATs, NWAs, and ASVABs. The kids like, do we have anything else that we have to test? So it's a lot when you first start the school year for some of our kids, but they are done. We had all but 5 of our sophomores complete the NWA. As we said before in my last report, that getting NWAs done, we've had low participation rates for a number of years, and that's really scored us low. We did have 5 that were not completed this year, 2 because of hospitalizations, 2 because they don't come to school regularly, and then 1 was a parent request not to take. So overall, we felt like we did really well with NWAs this year. And because people have asked about this, I wanted to share the biggest issues at Darrigo High School. There are 2. Vaping is one of the things that I chase the most at Darrigo High School. I've worked with Brian. We've tried a couple of vaping detectors in our bathrooms. Haven't been particularly happy with how they've worked to this point. Brian's continuing to talk to other people about like which ones work better. So eventually, I would like to see vape detectors in our bathrooms. It's relatively easy for me to check the girls' room every time I walk by. Less easy for me to check the boys' room because obviously I have to knock and open the door. And so there's time to, rearrange things if you need to. So we're working on it, trying to do a lot of information to students around that. We do have, if students are caught vaping, they do have in school classes on why what the results are for vaping. So we have that going on. So I'm going to tickle my throat. And obviously we talk to parents. And then skipping class is our second one. So. Comes from chasing it, I guess. So skipping class is the second hardest thing at Darrigo High School. It's gotten better. Kids are pretty respectful overall, but it's still something that I chase a lot. And I hope. When I catch them vaping or skipping? Vaping. So the first thing is, instead of going right to punishment, we have them do 6 weeks of drug counseling here at Darrigo High School. And I do that because they need to know what it's doing to themselves. So I am so sorry. And then it escalates. So if they do it again, then it would be an out of school suspension for a period of time. And they know at that point, if you get a third one, you could go to the board for expulsion. So it's kind of like progressive, but I really think education is our top priority around that, so they can make good choices. They don't usually have to write an essay. I do make them there. I will not vape. I will not vape 500 times or anything like that. But they don't really love going to the sessions. Well, there's a process, like they have different things that they have to do in that 6-week class, but it's really more, in my mind, it's about education. The young adults, they need to understand there are consequences to this choice and what they are. Skipping class, similar things, they get detention, they get delayed learning opportunities. So if you miss it now, we'll give you your learning opportunity later. So that kind of stuff. And I wanted to share 2 upcoming events at Darrigo High School that we have planned. Diversity Day, we're planning for January 16th. Looking forward to that. And then we have Prevention and Wellness Day that we did last year, earlier in the year, that we're going to do in March this year, just to give kids more information and ideas on different things.
What is Diversity Day?
So the purpose of Diversity Day is twofold. One, it's to increase in empathy between people, and then the other one is to just start understanding our own biases. So we have people coming from I've called the Wabanaki Alliance. We have people from the Holocaust Center in Maine coming. We have a Jewish family that's coming to present, their perspective on it. I have the Black Student Union from Loyston High School. They're going to come and they're going to share their perspective. So just basically lots of different perspectives. The kids can pick and choose what ones they're interested in and go and listen to them, and just really building empathy and understanding people have different perspectives in life and different ways that we have to be tolerant of. That's what Diversity Day is.
We used to do that way long. My kids were in school, and then after we had 2 days, and different people would come from everything.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Disabilities Alliance to come, trying to get lots of different
Viewpoints.
perspectives here
Yeah.
on people that are in recovery. So addiction, because we tend to have certain thoughts around people that are addicted or have been addicted, and just lots of different perspectives. I have called the Travis Mills Foundation. They've called me back, but we've been playing phone tag. I'm kind of hoping we might be able to get him in as our keynote speaker that day and then go into sessions, because I think that even that, seeing somebody who has a pretty severe disability and continuing to move forward, I think would be important.
What about Reboot? There's guys that are around here that are involved in.
Thank you for that. I will check with Reboot. I literally have been reaching out to lots of people. I've just been emailing and calling, and some people have already committed to coming, and I'm super excited just about, we live in a pretty non-diverse area, so to be able to just see different people and how their perspectives
We're
are.
getting more diverse.
We are getting more
Yeah,
diverse, but
because it used to be they thought every Asian person was related to me, and then they figured out, no, they're not. They thought Jessica, I said, no, she's Korean, we're Chinese. No, I'm not related.
yeah, I just think it will be, I think they used to have it when my son was here. I remember him having Diversity Day here, and it's just something we've decided we'd like to bring back at Darrigo High School. So we've been working on it. Rachel Buck, Jen Bell, and I have been working on trying to create a day around diversity. So, any other questions about Darrigo High School?
Can you go back, because I don't know where to put it, the superintendent's report, because you went to the superintendent's Wednesday. Me and Kathleen went to the conference on Thursday, Friday. I
yeah.
forgot to put, or we can do it the next one.
Sure. I don't mind.
Yeah.
So can I come back to my seat to continue with the?
Yes, you
superintendent's
can.
report?
You don't have to be the principal anymore.
I don't know. So that superintendent's event that I went to was the Wednesday before Barbara and Kathleen went, and we also saw Dr. Daggett. So yep. So he talked to these superintendents the day before and really just talked about AI and learning and just what's on the horizon for education and how best to handle it coming in. So it was an excellent day. I don't know if you had anything. particular from those 2
Kathleen, do you
days.
want to share what you did for workshops?
Well, I've forgotten.
But overall, I thought it was fascinating and very worthwhile. I went to a board workshop on how to effectively work in the board, and that was, and we had handouts, and so we can refer to them later. The AI talk was incredible, and especially the implications for education. So, yeah, I encourage others to go.
Yeah, I would say that they almost always have an outstanding keynote speaker because they get them to come to the superintendents on Wednesday, and then they're part of the conference for the school boards on Thursday, Friday. And they usually are top notch. And I thought he was outstanding as well. I think Barbara went out to get me a cough drop. I'm sorry.
There were several sessions canceled because of the situation in Lewiston. So there are at least like 6 or 7 or 8 canceled. So. Oh, yes, yeah. It was by Zoom, and it was pretty much uneventful. The voting was just as we voted here, pretty much. Yeah, I don't have anything more to say about that. So
Sorry, turn mine on. I went to, I don't know if Kathleen mentioned, because that was the day after the Lewiston shooting. So a lot of people weren't there. Some of the presenters, some were there. They had it because a lot of people come Wednesday, because they got to travel from all over the state. So I did a few lawyer ones. I went about what's the investigation? And I went to 2 on artificial intelligence. First, listening to his, and it was very interesting because he says, this is going to take jobs. People, they're going to use that. You got to be a good editor and a good, what was the other? Editing and, oh, fudge. Forgot. There's 2 things to do. And then you learn how to edit and look and verify it. And that's going to take jobs. It was like, whoa. Then I went to the lawyer one that Drummond and Woodsum did about it, how that will affect things. So remember last year I asked Brian, I go, Brian, are we going to ban? You can't ban this. This is going to be used everywhere. And they talk about how teachers use it, how, things, it's really fascinating teaching them to edit and do something else instead of, but it was an eye opener going, this ain't going away. So, I mean, just from a year learning that, I went to a course in negotiation one, collective bargaining. So it had some, I did win I don't even know where, a classroom science kit and STEM kit, and I gave it to her. I don't know who went to because I didn't know what grade level it was, and a $750 scholarship for a senior who's going into the STEM, any STEM or arts program. So I haven't heard from them people yet. So they better get in touch because they hound you because everything's digital. So that was that. So are you all done? Okay. Committee reports.
I would just say
go ahead. Yep.
Something about the AI. What I thought was fascinating, they encouraged us to switch the curriculum to do AI in school and not allow it for homework, but because they said it's such a coming trend that our students need to be able to do that thing. And essentially it's like Googling. You have to be very specific. So there is prompt. Yeah, prompt.
Prompting and editing.
And the example he gave is, he had a football prompt and it came up soccer. So he had to, say American football. And so, and the other thing that was fascinating is that we could, program it so that if a student got a question wrong, they could step back and teach that. And it was very individualized learning.
Interesting about using it for IEPs and things that would take. So yes, we won't be banning it, but the prompting, well, you got something to say, Brian? So. So it- Yeah. Thank you. Student representatives.
So our student representative is at the Youth Leadership Conference
Oh.
again this year, representing Darragh High School. So she'll be back
Okay.
next time.
We did have a policy committee meeting before. We did work on the dress code, which will be ready for next time. We tabled one because I need to get more information. And at the next meeting, we'll have another tentative one that we need board's input, something to pursue or not pursue. Finance committee.
I think we haven't met yet, but I think Friday, is it one? What day is it? I got it somewhere here.
All right.
Tomorrow at 3.
Okay. Okay. Curriculum, Brad's not here. I know they didn't meet since our last, because they met before the last meeting, right? Yes. And I don't know the next date, but we'll get on it. Building and grounds did meet, right?
They did meet and Dawn was elected as chair.
Okay.
And I don't know, I can't remember who else was there. If they want to report out anything.
Oh. Okay.
We talked about the bus garage and how we're gonna have lifts. And construction, I think, is supposed to start next summer. April, yeah, the next season. We talked a lot about air conditioning. With everything getting, it is definitely warmer than it used to be. Some of these rooms up here in the school need some kind of air conditioner. They were talking about, maybe heat pumps or this and that, and they were going to check in different options. The elementary school, I guess, has air conditioning upstairs. We talked about well water and PFAS. The elementary school has its own private well. And of course, these two buildings are on Dixfield water. So we have to keep testing for different things and we have to perform water treatments, but there's no real issues with anything. Talked about buses and the fleet. Talked about sports fields. We're going to do some reseeding and liming this fall.
Which one? All of them or the softball?
The ones across the street,
Oh, okay. You just-
the football field, the practice fields, the probably maybe up to the middle school. I don't know about out in back of the middle school.
Mhm.
If I missed something, I'm sorry. I think, no, it was a good meeting. Don was unanimously elected as the board chair.
Okay. Is it, go ahead. Okay. Yep. Okay. Is it possible for us to get rebates or we're not allowed because we're not residential for heat pumps?
Nope. So anything we do like that, we do it through efficiency main and we get rebates.
Okay, because they still have them. I know that. So, all right, because I do know it was when that hot, it was what, 90s? It was hot upstairs. This high school gets really hot. Negotiations, we're meeting, still meeting. Personnel,
So we haven't met since our last board meeting. Our next personnel committee meeting was scheduled for January 9th at 5:30. I found out since we had scheduled it that I have a work trip that week. Any chance we could reschedule to the following week? Maybe the 16th? Do we have? Or the week after that? I don't know that our next personnel committee meeting is pressing. I know the one agenda item that we definitely had wanted to look at was job descriptions for accounts payable, HR, kind of making sure that we have stuff
the one
organized.
who is
and-
retiring.
So I guess let me know. I don't know. If we can do it right now or
Yeah. Yeah,
okay. All right.
in that way, because I don't know what timeline you want to, you're gonna start advertising. Okay.
Yep. Does the 16th work or you need to double check? January. Keep going.
All right, Larry, did you go to the ad hoc committee the last meeting? I didn't either. I'm sorry. I know they have one scheduled. Do you know when that one is? November, or is it December? I think there's one in November. Okay, I
So
can't
we had an ad
remember.
hoc committee meeting
Mhm.
and we did discuss it. That's when we started discussing diversity day. So they're gonna do it at the middle school as well as at the high
Okay.
school. So that was our big topic for that evening, was just trying to build empathy with our kids. We did look at the number of civil rights violations that we've had at the elementary, the middle school and the high school, talked about those. Just kind of keeping an eye on the district and what's happening. And that's why we felt like Diversity Day would be a good thing to bring back, so that sometimes the comments are more not understanding than, I mean, other times they're malicious. So we just want to make sure we build empathy.
All right, before, on board member comments, before we get there, Brian, you, did all the board get that email about doing that security thing? Okay, so other people actually had set it up? What the?
The two-factor authentication.
Yes.
Okay, done.
If you hadn't done that, send them an email if you need help. Or, cause I haven't even looked at it. I ignored it. I was a bad girl. Thinking, well, maybe that's not us. And I asked him to, yes, that's us. All right, board member comments. Oh, sorry, Liz, go ahead.
After what happened at Spruce Mountain, with somebody sneaking in the doors, which is pretty scary, actually, 2 schools, I guess. I just wanted to commend one of the students that wouldn't let me in the door, and they knew who I was, and they started to come to me, and they stopped. And I said, that's good. Don't let anybody in unless you're buzzed in. So I was proud.
Yeah, that's good. Any other board member Nat, then
Okay.
Carl.
So there is an issue that I have been a little bit concerned about and wanted to bring forward to the board this evening, specifically related to our policies and current practices around participation in middle school athletic programs. Last fall, our athletic director came to the board with a proposal to allow 5th graders to play sports with our middle school teams. It was something that our athletic conference MVC had allowed, and they were giving each district the opportunity to decide for yourselves whether you wanted to opt in to allowing 5th graders to participate or not. And as we had kind of talked about it with our AD, we decided to move forward to allow 5th graders to participate. And at that point, there were several reasons that we had kind of talked about, but I think 2 of the big ones, it was an opportunity for us to fully fill JV and varsity teams. We had some sports that we weren't able to get enough numbers, just using sixth graders to eighth graders to have full squads. So we certainly thought there would be a benefit there. And then we also were looking at kind of using this as an opportunity to help with the transition from elementary school to middle school, that this would give fifth graders some exposure to the middle school and some social opportunities there too, while still attending the elementary school and kind of being a bridge. So we did approve the proposal that our AD had brought forward. So that was last fall. And our fifth graders here in RSU56 started playing middle school sports last winter. At that point, my son was a fifth grader. So we've kind of seen this, experienced this firsthand and kind of gone on the journey with the district. I would say, as with anything, there's been a learning curve. It hasn't been seamless, but overall, I think that it's been a positive. I'll speak personally for our family. It did serve as a great bridge for our son to get some exposure to the middle school. He's had a very good transition this year, and I credit his participation in athletics at the middle school level for part of that. At the same time, I think it's exacerbated an issue that maybe we had with some of our programs anyway, and that's an overwhelming number of students participating, more so than we can manage effectively. Our first example came right off last winter when we had over 30 boys 30 plus boys attend the first practice for middle school basketball. We have two squads, a JV and a varsity. Anyone that knows basketball knows that you can only have 5 kids on the court at a time. And as soon as you start having 30 plus boys in the gym, because JV and varsity practice at the same time in the gym, it becomes pretty difficult to manage. We've seen it with some programs in the spring and also with the fall. And I would say it probably capped off yesterday when we had 45 boys walk into the middle school gym for 2 basketball teams. Last winter, we have, overall, we've tried multiple approaches as a district to manage this. Last winter for the boys basketball team, we split our JV squad into an A and B. So each JV group was supposed to get half of a season of playing time. I would say by all accounts, and I won't speak for our athletic director, but I think he might say it probably wasn't the most successful experiment ever. It was a bit of a challenge, scheduling, especially because not all of the teams we play have JV squads. So it was a challenge that way. I've heard some coaches, parents, players say that, well, for other seasons and teams, fifth graders can practice, but they won't play. Just because I have to keep all these kids doesn't mean these kids have to play. The reality is that I myself was surprised last winter when I heard that our policy or practice was not to cut any athletes at the middle school level. And I think, my personal concern is that we are administering programs that aren't effective. I don't believe that they're as fair as what they ought to be to the students. I don't believe that they're fair to the coaches or to the families, because we have an overwhelming number of kids on some of these squads. We talk a lot about anytime we're staffing buildings and talking about changes, one of the first things we look at is student to teacher ratio, because we understand that there's a law or a point of diminishing returns, that once you get a certain number of students to one adult, it limits your effectiveness on educating them, on getting them hands-on opportunities. And I think we see the same thing in our athletic programs. And so I guess I'd like our administrators and our district to look at thinking moving forward on capping our number of athletes on a roster, moving to an approach that mirrors what several of our neighboring districts do, which is to have a competitive tryout. And if you have more kids that are interested in participating, then you can effectively handle on a roster or safely have in a gym at a time, that the kids that maybe aren't as skilled get cut. I think that we're very blessed in our area to have a number of rec programs for a variety of sports, whether you're talking wrestling, little league, cheering, gymnastics. We've got resources locally for kids that want to participate. We've got River Valley Rec, we've got GRCC, Canton has a rec program, Dixfield has a rec program. There are gymnastics and wrestling and all sorts of things. So that if kids don't make a team at the middle school level, their first try, they certainly have rec opportunities to develop fundamentals. I think that there are many examples out in the real world of folks that have gone on to be enormously successful that at some point in their life were cut. I think Michael Jordan maybe got cut as a middle school basketball player. I think I've read that somewhere. I think that we could utilize this to teach work ethic, resiliency. I think there are a lot of life lessons learned that necessitate that we could help our kids be prepared for the real world. I think that we could have more effective programs that would be more fair to the kids that are participating and the coaches that are administering them. I recognize that one of the things that we've tried to do at the middle school level is allow opportunities for every kid to have a place, and I respect that very much. I think that we do have a multitude of options at the middle school level. So if a child does not make a sports team, that they do have many other options of things to participate in. And I think that we could improve the impact, effectiveness, and safety of our middle school athletics programs if we did allow programs to cut if numbers reached beyond the number that you could handle on a team. So those are my comments.
So I'm assuming, because when we did that, I assumed for fifth graders to participate, there has to be room. Not just, okay, they come. Because I remember way back when my son, we had so many kids, sixth graders couldn't. We had a travel team. They don't have them anymore. Some of them. We used to in Dixfield.
That's not been how it's been implemented.
Oh, so it's implemented, everybody goes. Well, number one, you can't have 45 kids on two teams. It don't work. We can't do it at the high school with 10 or 15 JV kids. So that will need to be
So
get
anyway,
a little
I
appropriate.
voiced my thought on it.
Okay, Carl,
I looked up that meeting. It said the 17th at 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And I couldn't find any correspondence on, I think it was changed to 3 p.m., but this is the finance meeting. Is anybody? Mary knows what it is because she's smart.
Mary will control that.
So.
Oh, so it got changed.
Tomorrow.
Okay,
Okay,
did
so,
it, was it
she'll get
sent
a hold of
out?
me anyway. I think she usually
Okay.
yeah.
Okay,
Anyway, while I get the mic going here,
go ahead.
I mean, maybe if you had 9 on varsity and 9 on JV, there's 18. Then you're left with 27. There's 45. Maybe you can get out of 27 kids. There's got to be some parent that would volunteer, make 4 teams of 6 with 3 extra. So you always had 5 and play on, have 1 practice a week and use that facility with parental coaches and, have a tryout and then have, if you lose one of those 9 on either one, you could pull somebody up from this developmental league.
Yeah.
And I'll buy uniforms for 1 team.
Yeah, I don't
mean,
know
it's
that we're
just an
going to be
idea.
able to change a lot
You
for
gotta get
the current
parents have gotta
season.
take over to
Well,
do it.
45, you can't watch
yeah.
45 kids.
But I mean, that's
We don't
just-
let the cross country, we don't let track do that. You can't watch 45 kids.
But if you have
Yeah.
that many and you had 4 teams of 6, they played a game every Saturday or Sunday afternoon or something.
And I
They get some
will
playing time.
contact
Just a
Scott and
suggestion.
see what he has for rec, because I thought they mentioned something about starting something.
I think that the AD is aware now that 45 plus kids were there, and I'm sure they're working on a
He is
plan. I
working on
guess
a
Yeah.
plan.
my comment is more directed, I guess, that moving forward, it's difficult to have started a program this week and then instituted change.
I know.
But I guess my hope is that moving forward, we recognize that several of our programs have had more kids in the last 3 seasons than what a coach can effectively coach. And your kids, it's a safety issue, and I don't know, I think the kids.
Participation. You don't get anything out of that.
Yeah, and I know, like, again, I'll speak firsthand, but we had squads this fall that there were too many kids. So if it rained, we couldn't do practices inside because we had too many kids to safely do practice inside. So practices just got canceled. And I mean, yeah.
All right, thank you.
I
Any
did
other-
hear from Mary, and
Okay.
neither one of us are right. So she said, no, it's November 28th at 5 PM.
That's a good one. November 28th. All right, any other, go ahead,
Next week,
Kathleen.
22nd.
Revisiting a prior issue,
20.
I'd be interested to know what the cost would be of having the board members on the parent robocall. And I think it was a matter of maxing out and coming to a different tier. And
Well, we'll get a cost estimate. All right. Any other board member comments? We have no executive session. Could I have a motion to adjourn
So moved.
and a second? All those in favor? Good night. You might, you won't make Jeopardy, Stu.